My brother forged documents to transfer the $800,000 beach house I'd bought my grandmother into his name to pay his divorce settlement. So when I found out, I contacted the title company, reversed everything, and filed felony charges. If you love true stories that touch the heart, subscribe and drop a hi with your location. We'd love to know where our family is growing from. Now let's continue. I was in the middle of quarterly reports when my phone buzzed. The title company. My stomach dropped before I even answered. Miss Patterson, this is Linda from Coastal Title Services. We need to verify a property transfer on Ocean View Drive. Did you authorize the sale of your grandmother's beach house? The room tilted. What sale? That house isn't for sale. Linda's voice grew careful. According to our records, the property was transferred to a Mark Patterson 3 weeks ago. The notarized documents have your signature. Mark. My brother's name felt like poison on my tongue. I never signed anything, I whispered, my hands trembling. Send me copies. Now. 20 minutes later, staring at my computer screen, I saw it. My signature. Perfect. Too perfect. The date was April 15th. The day I'd been in Chicago for my daughter's college orientation. I'd posted pictures all over social media. Mark knew exactly where I was. I'd bought that beach house for Grandma Cecilia 5 years ago for $800,000. After Mama and Daddy passed in that car accident, she was all we had left. She raised us when our parents worked doubles at the hospital. That house was her dream. The place where she taught me to braid hair on the porch, where she'd hum old spirituals while cooking Sunday dinner. Mommy, what's wrong? My daughter Zara stood in my office doorway, her brown eyes wide with concern. I couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. My baby brother. The one I'd co-signed student loans for, the one I'd lent $30,000 to start his business, had stolen from our grandmother. My phone rang again. Mark. I answered, voice ice cold. Start talking. Sis, before you freak out. Before I freak out? My voice cracked. You forged my signature and stole Grandma's house. Mark sighed like I was being unreasonable. Vanessa, listen. Keisha's divorce lawyers are destroying me. He's taking the kids, the house, everything. I needed collateral for the settlement. So you committed fraud? I was going to tell you. I just needed time. The house is just sitting there. Grandma barely uses it anymore since her hip surgery. My vision blurred with rage. That house is her home. The only thing she has left of the life she built. You don't get to decide what matters to her. I'll buy it back, he said quickly. 6 months tops. The business is about to take off. Your business has been about to take off for 3 years, Mark. I've heard this before. I pulled up the documents again, studying them. How did you even do this? The notary stamp. Everything looks legitimate. Silence. Mark. Keisha's cousin is a notary. She owed me a favor. His voice had gone quiet, guilty. I laughed, a bitter sound. So this was premeditated. You planned this. Van, please. If I don't pay this settlement by next month, I'm going to jail for contempt. They're saying $125,000. I don't have it. And whose fault is that? I shot back. Whose fault is it that you cheated on your wife with her best friend? That you emptied your joint account to impress your girlfriend? Don't. No, Mark. You don't get to ask me for understanding. You stole from family. Family helps each other. Family doesn't forge documents. I was shouting now. What does Grandma even know about this? His pause told me everything. You didn't tell her. I can't, he whispered. It would break her heart. I drove to Grandma Cecilia's beach house that evening, hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles ached. The sunset painted the sky orange and purple, her favorite colors. She'd chosen this house specifically for these sunsets. The blue shutters needed paint. I'd been meaning to handle that. Guilt twisted in my chest. Grandma sat on the porch in her wicker chair, the one Granddaddy built before he passed. At 78 she was still elegant. Silver locks wrapped in a colorful head wrap, her dark skin barely wrinkled. She was shelling peas into a bowl, humming, "His eye is on the sparrow." "Baby girl," she smiled, setting the bowl aside. What brings you here on a Tuesday? I sat beside her, taking her weathered hands in mine. Her knuckles were swollen with arthritis, the same hands that had braided my hair every morning before school, that had sewn my prom dress by hand. Grandma, I need to ask you something. Has Mark mentioned anything about the house? Her smile faded. What about the house? Has he asked to borrow money? Or talked about selling it? Vanessa Marie, what's going on? I told her everything. Watched her face transform from confusion to disbelief to devastation. Tears rolled down her cheeks and each one felt like a knife in my chest. He wouldn't, she whispered. Not my Mark. He's made mistakes, but he wouldn't. I have the documents, Grandma. He transferred the deed into his name 3 weeks ago. She stood abruptly, walking to the porch railing. Her shoulders shook. This house. Your granddaddy and I, we used to dream about a place like this. We'd drive past the beach on Sundays after church and I'd say, one day, baby. One day we'll have our feet in that sand. Her voice broke. He worked himself to death trying to give me that dream. Died before we could afford even a trailer. And you, my sweet grandbaby, you made it real. You gave me what he couldn't. Grandma. And Mark. She turned to face me, fury replacing sadness. Mark would throw that away? Throw away everything. I'd never seen her this angry. I called a family meeting for Sunday dinner, the sacred family tradition Grandma had maintained for 40 years. My Aunt Paula, Uncle Jerome, and my cousins filled Grandma's dining room. Everyone came except Mark. He showed up an hour late, bringing Tiffany, his girlfriend, Keisha's former best friend. The audacity. What's this about? Mark asked, kissing Grandma's cheek like nothing was wrong. She didn't kiss him back. Sit down, I said coldly. We need to talk about your theft. Tiffany's perfectly microbladed eyebrows shot up. Excuse me. You're excused, I snapped. This is family business. I am family, she retorted, clutching Mark's arm. We're engaged. Aunt Paula gasped. Boy, you aren't even divorced yet. Can we focus? Mark's jaw tightened. Then why are you airing this out in front of everyone? Because everyone deserves to know what you did. I pulled out printed copies of the forged documents, sliding them across the table. 3 weeks ago, Mark forged my signature and transferred Grandma's house into his name. The room erupted. Uncle Jerome stood so fast his chair fell backward. You did what? It's not like that, Mark started. Then explain it, Grandma said quietly. Her voice cut through the chaos like a blade. Explain to me how you stole the house my granddaughter bought me. The house I thought I'd die in. Mark's face crumbled. Grandma, I was desperate. Keisha's lawyers. Don't you dare blame that girl, Aunt Paula interrupted. You destroyed your marriage. You made your choices. I made a mistake. Mark shouted. One mistake and everyone acts like I'm some criminal. You are a criminal, I said. Forgery is a felony. You used a fake notary. You forged legal documents. Tiffany stood. This is ridiculous. Mark was trying to handle his responsibilities. Not everyone has a fancy corporate job like you, Vanessa. Some of us struggle. The table went silent. Get out, Grandma said softly. What? Tiffany blinked. Get out of my house. Grandma roared. Before I forget, I'm a Christian woman. After everyone left, I stayed to help Grandma clean up. She moved slowly, painfully quiet. We washed dishes in silence until she spoke. Check the attic. I turned. What? There's a box up there. Green trunk with gold latches. Bring it down. The attic smelled like mothballs and memories. I found the trunk buried under old quilts. Inside were letters, dozens of them, all addressed to Grandma in Mark's handwriting. I opened the most recent one, dated 2 months ago. Grandma, I know I've disappointed you, but I swear I'm turning things around. The business is finally profitable. I'm going to make you proud. I'm going to be the man Granddaddy wanted me to be. I promise. Love, Mark. My throat tightened. I opened another from last year. I need to borrow $5,000. Just until the Johnson contract comes through. I'll pay you back triple. Please don't tell Vanessa. She doesn't understand how business works. Then another. And another. Each one a request for money. Each one promising this was the last time. He's been bleeding you dry, I whispered, descending the stairs with the trunk. Grandma sat at the kitchen table, hands wrapped around a mug of tea. $23,000 over 4 years. I kept records. Wrote every amount in my Bible. Why didn't you tell me? Because he's my grandson. Because I kept thinking this time would be different. Because. She trailed off, wiping her eyes. Because when he was 7, his teacher said he'd never amount to anything. Said he was too wild, too unfocused. And I promised myself I'd never give up on that boy. There's a difference between support and enabling. I know that now. She pulled out an envelope from her housecoat pocket. This came yesterday. From his bank. He missed 3 mortgage payments on his house. They're foreclosing. I took the envelope. It was addressed to Mark but sent to Grandma's address. He's using your address for his mail? Has been for months. I think Keisha doesn't know how bad things are. Grandma, none of this excuses what he did. No, she agreed, looking at me with fierce determination. It doesn't. Which is why you're going to press charges. Attorney Michelle Sanders sat across from me in her downtown office, reviewing the documents with sharp brown eyes. She was a family friend, someone Mama trusted back when she was alive. This is textbook forgery, Michelle said, tapping the papers. The notary who stamped this could lose her license. Mark. He's looking at 3 to 5 years. My stomach churned. 3 to 5 years in prison? Minimum. Wire fraud, forgery of a legal document, intent to defraud. And because the property value exceeds $500,000, it's a first-degree felony. Michelle leaned back, studying me. The question is, what do you want to happen here? I want my grandmother's house back in my name. I want legal assurance he can never do this again. That's the civil side. But criminally, once you report this, it's out of your hands. The state decides whether to prosecute. I thought about Grandma's face when she learned the truth. About Mark's kids, my nieces and nephews. About family barbecues and Christmas mornings. He needs to face consequences, I said finally. But I don't know if I can send him to prison. Michelle's expression softened. Vanessa, I've known you since you were 16. You're the one who made sure everyone's bills got paid after your parents died. You put Mark through college. You've been holding this family together for 20 years. Your point. My point is that your compassion is being weaponized against you. Mark knew you'd hesitate. He's counting on it. But here's what you need to understand. If he did this to you, he'll do it to someone else. He's desperate. He's a con artist, Michelle interrupted. I've seen this pattern before. The gambling, the failed businesses, the elaborate lies. This isn't a one-time mistake made under pressure. This is who he's become. Her words hit like ice water. You think he's done this before? I think you should run a full title search on any properties he's had access to. The title search revealed everything. Mark had attempted to refinance Grandma's house 8 months ago using a power of attorney document, also forged. The loan company caught it and denied the application. He'd taken out credit cards in his kids' names. Not much, $3,000 here, $5,000 there, but enough that his 12-year-old son had a destroyed credit score. He'd borrowed $15,000 from Uncle Jerome 2 years ago for business equipment that never materialized. And the worst part? He'd stolen Mama's engagement ring from Grandma's jewelry box last Christmas. The one thing she had left from her daughter. He'd pawned it for $2,800. How did I miss this? I asked Michelle, staring at the paper trail spread across her conference table. How did we all miss this? Because you loved him. Because family means giving chances. Because he knew exactly how to play on your guilt. I called Uncle Jerome that evening. Did you know about the ring? His heavy sigh told me everything. Grandma told me last month. Made me promise not to tell you. Said she didn't want to cause trouble. He stole our dead mother's ring. I know, baby girl. I know. Jerome's voice cracked. Your mama would be heartbroken. She thought Mark just needed time to mature. She always said he'd find his way. Well, he found his way into fraud. What are you going to do? I looked at the documents, at the evidence of systematic betrayal spanning years. I'm going to file a police report. Tomorrow. Vanessa. No, Uncle Jay. No more excuses. No more second chances. He crossed a line, and if we don't stop him now, he'll destroy this family completely. You know, some people won't understand. They'll say you're being vindictive, that you're tearing the family apart. Then they can feel that way. My voice was steel. But I'm done protecting him from consequences. I'm done setting myself on fire to keep him warm. Your mama would be proud of you, Jerome said quietly. You're stronger than all of us. I wasn't sure about that. But I knew I couldn't live with myself if I did nothing. Detective Rodriguez took my statement in a small fluorescent-lit room that smelled like burnt coffee. She was a middle-aged Latina woman with kind eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. Walk me through the timeline, she said, pen poised over her notepad. I laid out everything. The forged documents, the fake notary, the pattern of financial abuse. She listened without interrupting, occasionally making notes. And you have proof you were out of state on the date you supposedly signed these papers? I showed her my phone. Flight confirmations, hotel reservations, photos timestamped in Chicago. I was 800 miles away. There's no possible way I signed anything. Who else had access to your personal information? Social security number, identification. Mark lived with me for 6 months last year when his business was struggling. He had access to everything. My home office, my files, my mail. Detective Rodriguez leaned back. Miss Patterson, I'm going to be straight with you. This is a solid case. The forgery is obvious, you have an airtight alibi, and there's clear intent to defraud. But family cases are complicated. Are you prepared for what comes next? What do you mean? Once we arrest him, and we will arrest him, this becomes public record. His ex-wife will find out. His creditors will find out. His kids will find out. There's no putting this back in the box. My hands trembled. His kids are victims too, she said gently. He stole their identities for credit cards. They deserve to know what kind of man their father is before he does worse. You think he will? I think desperation makes people dangerous. And your brother sounds very desperate. I thought about my nieces and nephews, beautiful kids caught in the crossfire of their parents' disasters. Little Maya, who wanted to be a veterinarian. Caleb, who played trumpet in the school band. Jordan, who wrote poetry. File the charges, I whispered. Before I lose my nerve. Detective Rodriguez nodded. We'll need to bring him in for questioning. Do you know his current address? I gave her everything, his address, phone number, workplace. Each piece of information felt like a betrayal and a liberation. As I left the station, my phone exploded with texts. The texts were from Aunt Paula. How could you go to the police without talking to us first? You're going to send your brother to prison? This family doesn't air dirty laundry in public. We handle things internally. I called her immediately. How do you know about the police report? Mark called me crying. Said you filed criminal charges against him. Said you're trying to destroy his life. He destroyed his own life when he forged my signature. He made a mistake. You're supposed to be the mature one, Vanessa. The responsible one who keeps this family together. I laughed bitterly. So I'm supposed to be responsible enough to fix everyone's problems but not responsible enough to protect myself from theft? Don't twist my words. You know what I mean. No, Aunt Paula. I don't. Please explain to me how Mark stealing an $800,000 house is a mistake, but me reporting that theft makes me the bad guy. Because he's family. We protect family. He didn't protect us. He stole from his grandmother, the woman who raised him. He ruined his kids' credit. He pawned our dead mother's engagement ring. My voice rose with each word. At what point does family mean something besides me absorbing everyone's dysfunction? You're going to regret this, she said coldly. Mark my words. She hung up. Within hours, my phone became a battlefield. Cousins I hadn't spoken to in years suddenly had opinions. Facebook posts appeared. Vague statements about loyalty and betrayal that were clearly about me. Some people care more about money than family. Family over everything. Real ones know. When your own blood turns on you, that's the deepest cut. Only Uncle Jerome and Grandma stood by me. Jerome posted a simple statement. Before you judge someone's actions, know the full story. Theft is theft, whether done by family or strangers. Some of y'all would excuse murder if the right cousin did it. That post caused another explosion. My cousin Charisse called. You and Jerome are out here acting like Mark is some criminal mastermind. The boy made a bad decision. Why are you so pressed? Because I'm tired, Charisse. He showed up at midnight, pounding on my door. I watched through the security camera, disheveled, eyes wild, clearly drunk. Vanessa, open this door. We need to talk. I called 911, keeping the operator on the line. My brother is at my house making threats. I have a police report filed against him for fraud. The operator's voice was calm. Officers are on the way. Stay inside. Don't open the door. Mark kept pounding. You're really going to send me to jail? Your own brother? After everything I've done for you? I couldn't help it, I spoke through the door. What have you done for me, Mark? Name one thing. I was there for you when Mama and Daddy died. You were 18 and stoned at their funeral. I helped you move into your first house. You stole $300 from my wallet that weekend. Why are you bringing up old shit? He kicked the door. I'm trying to make things right. By forging documents. By stealing from Grandma. By trying to survive. His voice broke. You don't know what it's like, Van. You've always had it together. Good grades, good job, perfect daughter. Everything comes easy to you. Easy. I laughed harshly. I worked 3 jobs to put myself through college. I raised Zara alone after her father left. I've been holding this family together since I was 26 years old. None of it was easy, Mark. I just didn't make it everyone else's problem. So you're perfect and I'm trash. Is that it? No. You're my brother and I love you. But I can't help someone who won't help themselves. I can't keep sacrificing my peace, my finances, my grandmother's security because you refuse to grow up. If you loved me, you'd drop the charges. Police sirens wailed in the distance. If you loved any of us, you wouldn't have stolen in the first place. The police arrived, detaining Mark for trespassing and public intoxication. As they put him in the squad car, he looked at me with pure hatred. You're going to regret this, he spat. When I'm locked up and my kids are suffering, remember, you did this. The preliminary hearing was scheduled for 3 weeks later. In that time, the family fractured completely. Aunt Paula organized a prayer circle, not for Mark's victims but for his soul and the family member who betrayed him. Half the family attended. Posted pictures. Tag me in the comments. We're praying for healing and forgiveness. Keisha, Mark's ex-wife, reached out. We met at a coffee shop near her apartment. She'd lost weight, had dark circles under her eyes. Thank you, she said immediately. For filing those charges. I blinked. You're thanking me? The credit cards and the kids' names? I had no idea. I've been trying to fix their credit for months, thinking someone had stolen their information. It never occurred to me. She pressed her palms against her eyes. It never occurred to me their own father would do that. I'm so sorry. Don't apologize. You did what I should have done years ago, held him accountable. He pulled out a folder. I want to show you something. Inside were bank statements spanning 5 years. Withdrawals, cash advances, mysterious transfers. He emptied our kids' college funds. $47,000 gone. I thought maybe the market crashed or something, but when I called the bank, her voice shook. He transferred it all to a brokerage account in his name. Lost it day trading. Keisha. There's more. He took out a second mortgage on our house without my knowledge. We almost lost everything in the divorce because of the debt he hid. She showed me loan documents, credit card statements, payment notices. A financial trail of destruction. When I found out about Tiffany, I thought that was the worst betrayal. But this. She gestured to the papers. This is who he really is. And everyone's acting like you're the monster for telling the truth. Your family. His family. My mother told me I should have tried harder to keep my marriage together. That if I'd been a better wife he wouldn't have strayed. We sat in silence, two women who'd loved the same man and paid dearly for it. What are you going to tell the kids? I asked. The truth. Age-appropriate versions, but the truth. They deserved to know why their father's going to court. The preliminary hearing was surreal. Mark wore a suit I'd bought him 3 Christmases ago. He wouldn't look at me. His lawyer, a public defender who looked barely out of law school, argued it was a misunderstanding. A family dispute over property management, not criminal fraud. Michelle stood, presenting the evidence systematically. The forged signature. My alibi. The fake notary's confession. She'd flipped immediately, agreeing to testify against Mark in exchange for reduced charges. The judge, an older black woman with silver hair and sharp eyes, listened without expression. Mr. Patterson, you forged your sister's signature to steal property valued at $800,000. You used a fraudulent notary. You intended to use this property as collateral for your personal debts. Is there any part of that statement you dispute? Mark's lawyer whispered to him. Mark shook his head. Your Honor, my client was under extreme financial duress. Financial duress doesn't authorize theft, counsel. The judge's voice was ice. Especially not from family members. Especially not from an elderly grandmother. She looked at Mark directly. Young man, I've been on this bench for 26 years. I've seen a lot of people make mistakes. But this required planning. Premeditation. This was a calculated betrayal of trust. Your Honor, please, Mark's voice cracked. I'll pay it back. I'll do whatever it takes. Just please don't send me to prison. My kids need me. Your kids need a father who models integrity. Not one who teaches them that theft is acceptable when you're desperate. She turned to the prosecutor. I'm binding this over for trial. Bail is set at $75,000. The gavel came down. Mark turned to me, tears streaming. Please, Van. Please drop this. I'll lose everything. I wanted to feel sorry for him. Wanted to feel something other than exhausted relief. But looking at my brother, I realized something. The Mark I'd loved, the little boy who'd shared his candy and defended me from bullies. That person had died long ago. Maybe he'd never really existed. This man was a stranger wearing my brother's face. You already lost everything, I said quietly. You just didn't notice. 6 months later, I sat on Grandma's porch watching the sunset. The house was legally mine again. Michelle had handled the title reversal. Mark pled guilty, receiving 3 years probation, restitution payments, and 500 hours of community service. No prison time, but a permanent felony record. Half the family didn't speak to me anymore. Aunt Paula's prayer circle had become a social event I wasn't invited to. Holiday gatherings were divided into Team Mark and Team Vanessa. Even Grandma's 80th birthday party got split into 2 separate celebrations. But Uncle Jerome still called every Sunday. Keisha and the kids came for dinner once a month. Zara had watched everything unfold and told me, Mom, you showed me what boundaries look like. Even when they hurt. Grandma rocked beside me quiet. She'd aged in these months, grief etching deeper lines in her face. Do you regret it? She asked suddenly. I considered lying. Considered saying it was all worth it, that justice felt good. But Grandma deserved honesty. Every day, I admitted. I regret that it came to this. That Mark made choices that forced my hand. That our family broke instead of bending. But you'd do it again? Yes. My voice was sure. Because the alternative was teaching my daughter that family can abuse you without consequences. That love means accepting mistreatment. That protecting yourself makes you the villain. Grandma took my hand. Your mama would understand. She was a fighter too. I don't feel like I won anything. That's because you didn't fight for victory, baby. You fought for dignity. That's a different kind of battle. He squeezed my fingers. And dignity cost. Sometimes it costs everything. We sat in silence as the sun disappeared below the horizon. My phone buzzed, a text from Mark's oldest, Jordan. Aunt Van, I wrote a poem for school about courage. Made me think of you. Can I visit sometime? My eyes burned with tears. Maybe healing wouldn't come in grand gestures or family reconciliations. Maybe it would come in moments like this. One relationship salvaged from the wreckage. One young person learning that love and accountability could coexist. I texted back, anytime, baby. My door is always open. Grandma watched me, a sad smile on her face. You know what breaks my heart most? What? That Mark could have had all of this. The love, the support, the family. All he had to do was be honest. But he chose the lie. Every single time he chose the lie. Her voice broke. And now he'll spend the rest of his life wondering what he lost. The beach was empty, the waves rhythmic and endless. I thought about Mark in his small apartment, estranged from his kids, his reputation destroyed. I thought about the family we'd been and the strangers we'd become. Do you think he understands? I asked. That this was his choice? No, Grandma said. Men like Mark never do. In his mind, you're the villain. The sister who couldn't forgive. The family member who chose money over blood. Does that bother you? She turned to me, fierce love in her eyes. Baby girl, I've lived long enough to know that sometimes doing right means being misunderstood. Your conscience is clear. That's worth more than anyone's approval. We sat until darkness fell completely, two women who'd chosen truth over comfort, justice over peace. The house stood behind us, still Grandma's, still ours. Not stolen. Not sold. Just standing like we were. Somewhere in the city, Mark was probably drinking, probably blaming me, probably planning his next scheme. Some people never learned. Some people never changed. But I had. I'd learned that boundaries weren't cruel. That no was a complete sentence. That sometimes love meant letting people face the consequences of their actions, even when it broke your heart. As I drove home that night, I thought about the family we'd lost and the family we'd chosen. About holidays that would never be the same and relationships that could never be repaired. And I thought about Jordan's text. About one kid who saw courage instead of cruelty. About seeds of truth planted in scorched earth. Maybe that was enough. Maybe it had to be. The road ahead was dark, but I knew where I was going. Toward authenticity. Toward peace. Toward a life where I didn't set myself on fire to keep others warm. Mark had taken many things from me. My trust, my family unity, my peace of mind. But he hadn't taken my dignity. That I'd kept. And in the end, it was the only thing that really mattered. If this story moved you, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever had to choose between family loyalty and doing what's right? Your story might help someone else facing the same impossible decision. Remember, setting boundaries doesn't make you cruel. It makes you strong.